This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day, and that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
I think you're on mute.
Workday starting to sound the same?
I think you're on mute.
Find something that sounds better for your career on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Job Collections, you can browse curated collections by relevant industries and benefits, like flex PTO or hybrid workplaces, so you can find the right job for you. Get started at linkedin.com/jobs. Finding where you fit. LinkedIn knows how.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Dr. Psych Mom Show. Today, I'm going to talk about why your wife won't just give you oral sex if she doesn't want sex. It's a question that I have gotten frequently over the years that I've been in practice, and I will clear up that mystery as soon as I tell you to subscribe. My most recent subscriber episode was how can you draw on your own self-knowledge to help you empathize with your partner. If you are a black box, everybody's going to be a black box, and this can really help you understand why you may struggle with empathy, particularly when somebody is different than you. And there are close to 200 other subscriber episodes, possibly the cheapest way that I can imagine to educate yourself more on the topics that I discuss related to empathy and development as a person. So $9 a month, really can't beat it for the amount of hours you get. All right, so I got this comment, and I get this comment a lot. Why can't she just go down on you if she doesn't want sex? Well, so here's the thing. So that's like saying if you're not hungry, and you're not even hungry for a meal you like, why aren't you eating a meal you hate? I mean, that's the God's honest truth. We could stop there, but I mean, there's a lot more nuance, But the point is, most women after the honeymoon stage do not like giving oral as much because it is, there's just more sensory experience going on. There's taste, there's smells, and if it does not turn you on, then that's something you're less likely to do if you're not in the mood, and what happens is that when women drop out of the honeymoon stage, it's like they sobered up. And I've made this analogy before. So it's like saying, why will she go down on me when she's drunk and not when she's sober? And that is something that happens to a lot of guys, right? And it's because she is inhibited. It feels dirtier. But besides that, there's actual sensory differences. So for example, if you are in the honeymoon stage and your husband comes back from the gym, you're going to think that, he may even smell good. And then when you're not in the honeymoon stage, it's like almost you can't even remember feeling like that. It's like when you're a nursing mother, like you are like addicted to your baby and all you want to do is be at one with your baby. I mean, if you have postpartum, it's a little different, right? But I mean, you feel this very physical sense of oneness with your baby. And do you feel that way about your teenager? No, you don't want to be at one with them. You don't even want to be at 2 or 3. Like, you don't really even want them there. No, I'm kidding, a little bit. But point being, everything changes. And when the stage changes that you are no longer feeling drunk on new love, you're not feeling drunk on new dick either because it's not new anymore. And you don't want to get up and close and personal with it as much as you did before. So then when women don't want sex, do I ever say, oh, well, good, just end there, bye-bye? No, certainly not. I say educate yourself, and I do this with couples every day in my practice. Always reach out if you want to work with me. I have very few slots, but there are also other people who work for me as well. So, try your luck. Reach out, Samantha@drpsychmom.com or info@bestlifebehavioralhealth.com. But anyway, point being, I never say just let it die on the vine, right? I say get yourself in the headspace within the context of a loving, close, connected emotional relationship, right? That's also what you're aiming for. Those are on parallel tracks. You're trying to get closer emotionally, trying to get closer sexually. So within the context of that people are trying to understand each other, empathize with each other's love language, understand that responsive desire is what happens after monogamy, contrasted with spontaneous desire, which is before monogamy in the honeymoon stage. And men have spontaneous desire for longer, meaning that you get hard or you get aroused before sex versus due to touch. Responsive just means your body responds and then you get aroused, responds to touch, right? And I have so many podcasts about this. Just literally go to the Spotify search app and type in responsive. You'll get a bunch of shit and then you should listen to it. But anyway, so within the context of this knowledge that many people may have recently learned about responsive desire, get yourself in the headspace to try. So lay down, go to bed, and try to kiss. See if you could get in the mood. Now, if you can't get in the mood, no harm, no foul. If you're married to one of these guys, and thankfully this is the minority, that say something like, well, if you kiss me, then you got to start what you finished. Don't kiss him. Don't kiss him ever. It'll be easy because you'll be divorced. No, I'm kidding. But get into couples counseling like yesterday because that's not normal. You cannot say every time you kiss me, we need to have sex, because that's a good way to say never kiss me again because I have the empathy of a doorknob, right? So no. So I'm not talking about that situation, because remember, you can always say no at any point in an encounter. You never have to think just because he's hard, you have to do something about it. No, that's nuts, right? That's crazy. But point being, so let's say you're in a loving relationship with a person who recognizes you as more than a vagina. Then you lay down, you could try to kiss and touch. And honestly, particularly if you're in the first half of your cycle and or if you love him a lot, you could get yourself in the mood, I'm not saying every day, but you could get yourself in the mood. Most people average sex is weekly. So could you do that once a week? Often more if you are ovulating or before ovulation. And then in the luteal phase, maybe responsive desire doesn't kick in. But you know what? Sometimes it does, especially, again, if he gets good at foreplay, massage, things like that, and you feel close and connected. And there's a million things that you could do differently in bed. This is why we have those videos that Heather Ray records on Lick It Right and Blow His Mind. And you could access all these on the Best Life Behavioral Health website. And the one that is undersold because it doesn't have a catchy title like Lick It Right is Partner's Guide to Female Pleasure, which actually discusses how the female body works. Certainly worth of $40, embarrassingly low. For the content that it provides. So definitely get that if you struggle with it. And of course, remember what I just said, blow his mind. We even have a video on literally oral sex. So if you're like, no, I actually don't mind oral sex, on him. I don't mind giving him a blowjob. The thing is, it just lasts so long. That hurts. And, because guys don't understand, by the way. I'll get into that too. I have said this. I've done a thing all about blowjobs, but whatever. I mean, that was, I think, years ago by now. You could type blowjobs in the Spotify search app bar. Point being, a lot of women don't want to do it because it takes forever. But if it takes forever, maybe it doesn't have to take forever is my point. So get the blow his mind video. Maybe you could learn how to make it not take forever. And then maybe you do it more, right? Because everybody does things that don't suck, no pun intended, more than they do things that do suck. But back to the main event here. If responsive desire kicks in, then, in a humorous irony, she's a lot more likely to give you a blowjob because her inhibitions go down with arousal. So she gets a little bit drunk. It's like being a little drunk, not as drunk as the honeymoon stage, not as drunk as, new relationship energy, but a little drunk. She's drunk on the hormones of arousal, right? And so maybe she'll give you the blowjob then. But let's say she doesn't kick on, right? Let's say that responsive desire remains dormant. You're touching her. You think you're doing all your sexy things that if you watch Heather's video, you may realize aren't that sexy. But either way, you're doing the shit that usually seems to work, sort of. And she's just yawning and she's like, I'm tired. And she's like, let's just stop. You think that then you're supposed to say, well, this isn't working, but here's a good idea. What if you just go down on me? No. Because remember, what you're trying to do is have a connected sex life. She's saying I'm experiencing zero drive, and you're saying, but what about the physiological release that I would prefer to have in your mouth? But what about that variable? What? That isn't reasonable. You cannot expect a woman. So then what you'd be asking her to do is completely dissociate from her lack of desire, go to a place in her mind that doesn't, where she isn't doing what she's doing, dissociate, and basically try to fake act like she's into something. Because, like, if she just gave you a blowjob like she's half dead, then that wouldn't really work. So you're basically asking her to fake acting like she is experiencing desire, because giving head is something that a woman would only do, as I'm saying, if she's experiencing sexual desire. She's already said she's not experiencing sexual desire. So what you're saying is, can you please fake that you are, like porn, so that I don't have to remember that you just told me that you don't experience it, so you can lie to me now so that I can ejaculate in my preferred place. Does that sound like a loving man? Because it really doesn't to me, And if enough of that happens, then you're going to be in couples counseling or in 2 separate houses. Because eventually, this is the whole marital coercion thing. If somebody says, I'm not in the mood, you're not supposed to push again. For a specific sex act? I mean, look, if she says, let's say y'all are in couples counseling. And this Tuesday night session's Wednesday. Your assignment was to try to see if responsive desire works. So you say, hey, we didn't have sex all week, we're supposed to at least try to see if it kicks in. You want to go upstairs? If she says, yeah, okay, let's go upstairs and see what happens, then cool. Then everybody there knows she don't experience any desire in that moment. But she putting on her game face. She's got to agree. She's got to consent to trying to experience responsive desire. It can't just be something like that you're turning her on against her will. That shit's like mind control porn. That's not real. So point being, if she says, yeah, let's go try, then all right, she's not experiencing desire right now, but she's willing to try, and then you'll know that, she's aroused. Here's how you'll know she's not, though. If nothing changes, her breathing doesn't change, she doesn't get wet, she doesn't get all of the other physiological signs of arousal that you could listen to in my podcast about female arousal, do you even know what it is, or something like that. And if she just says, let's get it over with, then what you say is, no, it's okay. I don't want to do anything you don't want to do. And that changes the game a lot, because then she sees that maybe you are a good guy. And her conception of you as a guy who just wants release, which you would be if you asked for the blowjob when she's not in the mood, right, is called into question. And you are a man who wants to connect with his wife, which I think on a deep level you are, if you're listening to this podcast, certainly. And so what you want to do is be in the bucket of a good man who wants to connect with his wife as often as you can from a genuine place, not acting like that guy unless you truly have to fake it until you make it, which, sometimes we got to do. And if you're a guy who's raised on all this porn and bullshit ideas about women, and you're trying to understand differently how to understand women and respect them and their desire and the fact that they don't work just like you, then you may have to say something like, yeah, actually, if you just want to get it over with, we shouldn't do it, because that means you don't want to do it. You may have to say that even though the other part of you is saying, just do it, Just do it. Just have sex with her quick. It'll feel good for 1 second. You'll be able to forget that she's not into it. She offered. Yeah, she offered like a captive offers. Like please, if you have sex with me, then can I get one more cracker, master? Like, we don't need this shit. Like, this is like Joe from You with the girls in the basement. So definitely you do not want to be thought of as somebody who would have sex with somebody who basically feels like it's that, or you have a tantrum. Like, that's not cool. And I talk about this stuff a lot. So anyway, point being, the reason she doesn't give you a blowjob when she's not turned on is she's not turned on. Don't ask for a blowjob when she's not turned on. If you are very upset that you never get blowjobs, try to talk about, is that something you could incorporate when she is turned on? And also understand that many women don't do blowjobs for a couple of main reasons that men neglect to understand. A, it takes a long time. Really. And some guys want to pretend it still takes the same amount of time as when they were 18, and it doesn't. And especially because she's not into it, but you're trying to pretend that she is. And 10 minutes of doing that, if you have no idea what you're doing, is really a lot. And believe me, the actual statistics show that women actually do have give oral sex more frequently than men do. That's the actual statistics. As much as men say that they like it and they like it and they like it, there's more women that have been coerced into doing it, especially when they're young. So they got bad impressions of it because guys used to push their head down, this, that, the other, right? So you could potentially be sacrificing the whole marriage and all the trust on the shores of this thing, and not understanding that to her, this feels worse than anything. And many women, it feels also demeaning to them because they associate it with porn. These are things that you could discuss with a therapist, a sex therapist, because of course it's not demeaning any more than the inverse is demeaning, but many women are trained to think that way. And also the other one is they don't know how to do it. The guy doesn't want to critique them because he thinks how upset he would be if somebody critiqued him in bed. Meanwhile, he forgot 0% of her self-concept relates to sex. She doesn't like sex. She wasn't trained to like sex. So, like, what's it to her if you tell her how to do it any different? If anything, it could go faster. And if she wants to love you in the way you want to be loved, and she's aroused, and she knows how to do it, you got your best hope there. But what you cannot do is to tell a woman who has zero drive to suck your dick. Really. I mean, let's be straight out. Why? Out of all the things, that she wants to do, that would be beyond last on the list. None of those things were sexual, by the way. I'm saying out of everything she wants to do at that moment in the entire universe, that one's last. And so not understanding that is such a profound, it would be like, let's say, like you got laid off at work, when you come home, you're like so stressed and so upset. And she's like, I know what'll cheer you up. Let's go to Joann's and pick out craft material. You'd be like, what the fuck are you smoking? Like, that would never cheer me up. What am I, you? Like, out of all the goddamn days, like, that's how you pick to cheer me up. Do you even know me at all? That's what she feels. She has zero sexual desire. She, God knows, feels bad and guilty enough about that because, as I've said to you so many times, women feel sad about their sex drive decreasing. Women want to have happy marriages, And so out of all the things, that's what you suggest? Like, it's almost mind-boggling to the woman that receives that suggestion, especially if he's also said that he uses sex to connect, because would be so disconnecting that it's just shocking that he could ever say that sex means connection, when in this specific case, it means that you're asking her to literally fake and lie and dissociate. So I hope that clears it up. And for the women that are pretty sex positive overall and enjoy having fun in bed, certainly do know that this is something that guys really want. Not the coerced blowjob. No, they want the blowjob given freely. So take the tips I give you, and actually take Heather's blowjob video. I'll link it in the description. But the point is like, try it when you're aroused. That's where a lot of people go wrong with both oral sex. Oral sex should not be foreplay. It should be mid-play. It should be when you're turned on. And this is the same thing with my Oral Sex on Women podcast that you'll have to subscribe to here. All right, I will talk to y'all soon. Thanks for listening, and I hope this was entertaining and enlightening.